So get your PVCs in readiness to vote in the election. Today on the program, G5 governors meeting disrupted in Lagos amid chant of Atiku as Kwakwanso vows never to step down for Atiku Abubakar. I'll be hanging out with Emeka Madunagu, and Haruna Abib will be staging a comeback after 6 years. He served successfully as the chief press secretary to former governor Akinwumi Ambody, and is one of the founding fathers of this program, Journalist Hangout. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So,
I'll be back.
If you're ready, let the hangout start now. Let's begin from Kaduna, where Nigeria Air Force is making some gains in quelling the menace of banditry in the north. Several bandits have been reported killed during the airstrike in Giwa local government area of Kaduna State by air components of Operation Wild Punch, according to the state government. Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arua, the target of the strike was the hideout of the notorious bandit leader Alhaji Ganai, located south of Kadandan community in Giwa local government area. In another development, an aircraft of the Nigerian Air Force NAF has attacked the enclave of the notorious gun runner Malam Ila and at Manawa village in Shinkafi local government of Zamfara. NAF spokesman Air Commodore Edward Gabwat confirmed the strikes, saying military operations continue to curtail the excesses of bandits and terrorists in the states. Everything just should have a lifespan. I think it has come to that time that the Nigerian government is getting its rights in dealing with these bandits.
Well, I think it will be premature for us to conclude that that finally we are winning the battle.
But they've been dealing.
They've been dealing with them.
Lately.
I only wish this is not a flash in the pan.
Okay.
I hope that they will be consistent in taking the war to the bandits and terrorists. You know, we've been hearing very bad news of late. This guy will come in, attack and go back. You know, for the past 3-4 weeks, we've been hearing good news of the military, particularly the Air Force. You know, dealing with them, trying to destroy their enclaves in the forest. And I think this is a good news.
And some of them are even running down south.
Absolutely, this is a good news. And I think the governors in the south are not also sleeping, particularly those of the southwest. But to me, this is a good one. I hope, as I said, it's not a flash in the pan, and they'll be consistent. You know, people have been saying that intelligence gathering, we give our military the edge, you know, in destroying the enclaves and finally pushing them out the country. I think they are going along that road, and finally we have the headway.
We're getting results. Seems we're getting results.
Yeah, we're getting
now
results.
In the northeast. Yes. I think it's getting better, and against these bandits, something is coming of it.
Yeah, something is coming up, but we need to increase the tempo of ground assault, because you know how many times the military has tried to kill Toji, Bello Toji, the most notorious of all of them, but has missed him one way or the other. He has escaped a number of times by a whisker. So I think the ground assault troops should also be able to move in and really give more pop after the air raids, bombardments. Then the ground assault should make sure that any of these people remaining don't even have a chance to live. They are cut off. They are wiped off the face of the earth. Then again, the military need to deal with these people who are playing mind games with Nigerians. You know, talking about those, for instance, some days ago, the news about that naming ceremony was held, you know, after one of the kidnapped pupils of FGC Yauri in Kebbi delivered. I mean, I was personally distressed by that news. I I read that thing at night. I couldn't sleep. Feel, reading these parents whose children are still in captivity. I was distressed. I had a bad night. Yes, I had a bad night. I mean, a child of 16 years. I mean, who is still interested in playing with the parents' phones, just playing around the home. Now, these criminals have turned this child into a mother. I think government, even the international community, the United Nations, should take decisive action to help Nigeria to get these people, because this is a big crime against humanity. It should not just be Nigeria's issue. These things cover the rights of the child. And those criminals, those terrorists, wherever they are, whoever they are, the international community must step up and assist Nigeria to get all of them dealt with. They must face the International Criminal Court. They must face trial for war crimes, and there should be no letting up. And don't forget the Chief of Staff to the President. We still have our eyes on the promise he made that very soon, I mean, maybe towards the end of the year, that the government will secure the whole country. We still have our eyes on that promise, and we hope that things will get much better. They should also, the military, the security forces, not just the military, security forces should ensure that these people don't have any means of migrating down south in a manner that they can threaten security. They should be given it should be a matter of hot fire for them.
At the point in time, we thought it was, these guys were just foreigners that just strayed into our country to wreak havoc and everything. But later we now discover that they've been recruiting our youths willing to, as a result of unemployment and as a result of what the National Bureau of Statistics described as multidimensional poverty.
Absolutely.
And if the NBS is saying 133 million Nigerians are living below that line, so you can see what could fuel banditry and crime.
Poverty, crime, banditry, terrorism, kidnapping, they are not mutually exclusive. Yeah, they are intertwined. When people are poor, they are vulnerable to be used by bad guys. So what we are seeing is a situation whereby kidnapping has been a very big business. The proceeds of kidnapping is what is being used now for banditry, for terrorism. So the government should use its machinery, its structures, to break this ring, cut the money. Because you can get them, you can trace the money to them and cut it off, get them arrested.
It seems to be a thriving industry.
The way, if you notice very well, the way the American government-led Western nations have been able to cope and deal with terrorists, organizations, anywhere in the world, they locate the money. When you locate the money, you get the source of the money, and you can get us involved. So the story,
they're not well funded.
The story this morning by the Guardian here from these who are unemployed. You see, army of youths, many of them in thousands, they'll be susceptible, they'll be vulnerable to be used by these bad guys because they are in need of money. They are in need of sustenance. So this thing is the gamut of problem.
What appeals to us down south is
that's why I said
the Yahoo syndrome.
That is why I said
and up north there,
yes,
it's banditry.
Even in the south, there is kidnapping. Now what they are using, the process of kidnap to execute is their bad thing they are doing. As Emeka just said, dehumanizing people. How can you be celebrating that kind of thing? 16-year-old. And these are processes, these are things that you use in the process of kidnapping and of terrorism. So government have a lot to do. And I think that I'm not comfortable with the way the government have done so far in terms of security. There are part and parcel of people that are supporting the government have an issue. So this thing will not end with this government. So it's high time we put the main contenders to occupy our role next year on the hot seat. Tell Nigerians what they want to do in terms of securing this country. That is very, very important. We can only provide prosperity, we can only provide development and growth when the country is safe.
can only provide development and growth when the country is safe.
Absolutely.
And looking at how best, apart from the military option now, to start attacking this from the stem.
You have an army of youths. Why not convert many of them into an army to secure the nation? What will it take government to get these people into community policing? You keep talking about community policing as if it's rocket science, as if it's something existing in the moon. Why not find a way, get these people employed, get them engaged? You call them vigilantes, but I think you can better train them very well to boost the security services at different levels. Where in those communities where they live, don't just classify them as just hunters or vigilantes, just on ragtag. Let it also be part of
civilian ATF.
Yeah, let it also be part of. You see, when you're talking about okay, maybe like you find in some places, you find communities funding security, funding vigilantes. How much money can communities really put into these things? But you even see state governments, they have a security trust fund. Now, there is a Nigeria Police Trust Fund. But government needs to look at this thing holistically. Because fighting insecurity involves a lot of money. It involves a lot of money, and this is what government can actually do. Because government is the largest employer of labor in Nigeria. So definitely, if government can find creative ways of funding security at different levels, you will find out that, you see, people will be employed. People will begin fully engaged. And then you now reduce the incentive for crime. And then what are the banks doing? What is government doing? Money going through the banks. There have been instances of kidnapped money, ransoms going through the banks. Why is the central bank not, central bank, NFIU, EFCC, not ICPC, not clamping down on this dirty money? I mean, 150 trillion transactions flagged, according to what the Punch reported this morning. I mean, these things are not rocket science. We have experts in cybersecurity who can do these things.
I think 2 days ago or something, the government in Malami was saying that the government will name the funders who are funding the terrorist cells.
Till now.
So we are waiting.
That was promising us. How about those funded guys?
Well, United Arab Emirates named some, jailed some.
UAE gave them some list.
Yes, gave them some, yes.
Who are responsible for funding these people? And how do you change? Good. So who is hiding something? Who is hiding something?
All right. It is no longer a debate that politics is a game. Now, the question then is, what kind of game? Barely 6 days in office, the Speaker of the Ekiti State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Aribisogan, has been impeached from office and suspended indefinitely. The Israel lawmaker who represents Ekiti, one constituency, was impeached by 17 out of 25 lawmakers for allegedly blocking the passage of the 2022 Supplementary Appropriation Bill. Meanwhile, the Assembly Chief Whip, Right Honorable Olubunmi Adeluba, representing Emure constituency, is now the new speaker. One day, one drama. Yeah, after the exit of John Kayode Fayemi, now we have a new governor. What is happening to that assembly? That assembly witnessed stability in the last 4 years. All of a sudden, this crisis. What is the cause of this crisis?
From what I read in a newspaper, immediately the crisis started. I think the agreed lawmakers that Aribisogan,
yes,
is representing, they're not happy with the scheme of things. Don't forget that we're not giving second-term ticket. And they felt that the only way to pay back, is to take over the house. At least make some gains before next May.
6 months.
6 months, And in our democracy, both in its nature and its character, me and you know that the assembly controls the fund, the pocket.
The executive
controls the SWOT. Executive controls the SWOT. But the power is controlled by the assembly. And the assembly and the executive must work in tandem. You know, so the power that be, from the report that we had, the former governor was not too comfortable. The emergence of Aribisogan. So it got to be removed. But you see, my own point is that how was that man? How was he able to be elected in the first instance without the support of the governor? I'm trying to call my friend and find out. But my friend was telling me that the governor, the party chairman, and the former governor are on the same page in this game when they are playing, and that I should watch out to go over the place again. But the bigger picture is that we've seen this.
I believe so. These guys rebelled.
Absolutely. We've seen this game before in Anambra. We saw it in Plateau. We saw it in other states. You know, it's an attempt by some forces to control the state. I won't name names here. But it's very apparent. Very apparent. But how does it help the man on the street? That's the issue here. How does it help the man on the street? Now they remove the man, citing that the man is not cooperating with the post to the passage of what I'm talking about. You know, what is going on now? But how does it help the state? How does it stabilize the state? How does it help the state development and growth? And ultimately, the man on the street.
Okay. They allege that Aribisogan was blocking the passage of the 2022 supplementary appropriation bill. There will always be one allegation. Somebody that has barely spent a week in office. I don't understand.
But the same man accused the former governor of not allowing him, not even acknowledging his election. Then look at again what Mr. Femi Falana said. Said that the lawmakers, that their lives are in danger, that they should be protected by the police. All right, that the lawmakers want to pass the budget, they should be protected. They should be allowed a conducive environment to pass the budget. I think it's not just about, in terms of the passage of the budget, the speaker cannot stop the passage of the budget. Definitely the executive and the legislature have a way of getting things together. They have a way of reaching a consensus. But this is very interesting. If you remember, so many years ago, when the Ekiti State House of Assembly was in this kind of drama, going, back and forth, different kinds of allegations.
That's what I said, that we've witnessed peace and tranquility in that assembly.
Yeah, of course,
the last how many years?
The thing is this, is the person the governor wants, at the same level, is the person the governor wants that emerges speaker. And the governors usually want people who have, a lowly profile, who won't threaten their powers as the chief executive, as the boss, as the numero uno in the state. Now, he pointedly accused the former governor, Fayemi, of being behind the crisis in the assembly. Now, the governor's CPS, but they came out to say that no, it's purely legislative matter. The lawmakers should be able to sort out their issues. But the point is this: we know that there is no House of Assembly in Nigeria where you find crisis and the hand of the governor.
Are you talking about the former governor or Governor Ibanji?
They are just two sides of a coin.
I don't
They belong to the same party. They belong to the same party.
Ibanji is different from
but yes, very good. But they belong to the same party. They belong to the same political tendency. So if Kaide Fayemi, as alleged by the impeached speaker, was actually behind the crisis.
We don't know that.
That's what Fayemi has not said anything.
But we've not reached out to Fayemi.
We are hoping he will speak up because an allegation has been made against him. And don't forget, there was the allegation too that some thugs wanted to burn the House of Assembly. That's what the police said, and that's why they moved in proactively. So definitely, those big politicians in charge of the state, running things in the state.
I believe that the House was really threatened. That people want to burn down the place. You believe that?
Well, why would? Because I was wondering, why would it get to the extent of wanting to burn down the state? But remember what happened in Kogi State House of Assembly recently. So there are so many,
They made to close down the place.
Of course. Yes. As has happened in a number of state houses of assembly. Yes.
The
same script.
The German thing, absolutely the same script. The germane thing here is that we are still growing in a democracy. It's still in its embryonic stage. This kind of thing, shenanigans, these unconstitutional hearts, we'll be seeing. We'll be seeing because you see, we just said one thing now. Name one House of Assembly in Nigeria, this country, that the speaker is against the governor. Or name a state whereby the opposition is in charge of the House, and the governor, another party controls the executive. That is how system grows. That is how society grows. That's how democracy mature. In Nigeria, we are killing it. We are not getting it right.
Yeah. So the House of Assembly,
for the mere fact that man is not your friend, or it's not your G, it's not your boy, that is the speaker, does not mean that he will not look at the interest of the state in legislating what is right for the state. So you see, it's a game of interest. What you are saying.
So what do we know about Right Honorable Olubunmi Adeluba, the former chief whip? So whose interest is this? The person that the powers that be want?
No, it's just a matter of, all right, put somebody there, let's pass the budget, then we see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
But I understand that this is the person that was anointed initially before the emergence of Aribisogan.
Yeah, but politics is a game of interest. It's a game of interest. Politics is a game of interest. So things are regularly fluid in politics. It's not as if, okay, we agreed on this in the morning. Nigerian politicians can change their minds as quickly as the tide. So I think the lawmakers should also be conscious of their place in history. Unfortunately, some of them didn't get return tickets. So that might also be part of some of the things. Yes, causing tension. Yes, because these are professional politicians.
We're told that this is part of what is fueling this crisis.
Yeah, they didn't get return tickets. So when you don't give people return tickets,
were not returned.
Yes, you expect them to fully cooperate with the governor, of course. So the governor, yes, is new, but he should quickly find a way to manage these tendencies, so that the different tendencies, so that things don't get out of hand. You've been able to contain this. Going into the 2023 elections, it might not be like that. It might not be so easy.
The video of the new speaker after the installation.
Of course,
I can see former deputy speaker, that's Honorable Akim Jambi, and some other lawmakers.
You can see them dancing. The same politicians tomorrow can be throwing chairs. You may see them throwing chairs at each other. That's the nature.
No, dancing. You want to ask yourself that who were the people that actually voted for this Aribisogan to emerge?
To emerge, yes. And were they not dancing? Were they not dancing? Today they are dancing. Tomorrow they might be throwing punches.
So 1 week after Aribisogan is
Nigerian politics is so fleet.
Suspended indefinitely, was thrown under the bus.
Absolutely. No, that is what you get.
If you don't play ball.
You don't play ball. If you are trying to face the train, you're running train. They crush you. That's the girl forget that one governor is a war strategist.
Yeah, actually, I think he has a PhD in war studies. Yeah.
For now, going forward, will no longer be consequential. The politics of the state. But
it's not coming back to that house.
It's not coming back to that house. And the next,
he has been suspended indefinitely.
That is gone. He's dead as dodo.
Wow.
And the other guys that follow him on that train to rock the boat will be very more circumspect going forward.
Politics like winner takes all. Now, Abib said something about the state houses of assembly being like an appendage.
Of course, that's it.
Appendage to the executive.
That is it.
And I don't know what we can do about this. Well, since the governor, because it's not at the federal level, it's not like that. No, we are lucky. Since 1999, we've not, it has not been like that.
No, but the current National Assembly has been the rubber stamp. After the Senate President said we will approve anything Mr. President brings, of course so you see the respect Nigerians have for National Assembly has really gone down since he made that unfortunate statement. But the thing is that I know President Muhammadu Buhari, in trying to ensure independence for the legislature through financial autonomy, I think he had that in mind, maybe giving them some form of autonomy so that they won't have to be running to the governor every time they want to pass their budget. But I think, like Habib said, our democracy is maturing. We hope it will get to the point where we will build institutions, not strong men, not strong women, not people who are controlling one tendency or the other, but the institutions, the constitution will lead. But again, let's not lose sight of the fact that democracy essentially has the aspect of conflict. Conflict comes in. Look at in the UK. You saw how it was, how Boris Johnson was conveniently moved out. Then the other lady came in, and not long after she was shoved out, and we have another prime minister in the UK. So, all in all, I think they should find a way to manage these tendencies, because having speakers for short periods doesn't help the state legislature. But it's about the same thing in all the states, in 36 states. It's about the
This blessing be yours forever to keep a calm and peaceful sleep.
Removes mosquitoes so you can sleep a calm and peaceful sleep. Good night, Electric.
President Muhammadu Buhari administration also assented to a very important legislation which has defied several administrations before 2015. And that is the anti-piracy bill, which was a big relief to the maritime community all over the world and other stakeholders, especially in the Gulf of Guinea and the West and Central Africa maritime region. The legislation is aimed at preventing and suppressing piracy, armed robbery, and any other unlawful act against a ship, aircraft, and any other maritime craft, including fixed and floating platforms. The act, otherwise known as the SPOMO Act, has opened the doorway for the administration of justice for piracy and other maritime offenses in the country.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
The general public are hereby invited to the Platinum Post annual roundtable event with the theme Contemporary Security Challenges and Their Effect on the 2023 General Elections. Chairman of the occasion, His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kano State, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje OFR. Guest Speaker, His Excellency, the Governor of Bauchi State, Senator Bala Abdul Qadir Muhammad. Keynote Speaker, Major Hamza Al-Mustafa Retired. Special Guest of Honor, Benue State Governor, Dr. Samuel Autumn, and the Inspector General of Police, GP Usman Baba Al-Ghali. Discussant, INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu, IPAC Chairman Engineer Yabagisani, Honorable Leke Abejide, Chairman House Committee on Customs and Excise, and the Commandant General of the NSCDC, Ahmad Audi. The event is scheduled as follows. Date, 22nd November 2022. Time, 10 a.m. prompt. Venue, Nikon Luxury Hotel, Abuja. Announcer, Mr. Edwin Olofu, CEO, Platinum Post.
Thank you for staying with us. It appears the storm blowing over the umbrella party, the People's Democratic Party, is taking a different turn. In a strategy meeting held in Lagos, 5 governors of the People's Democratic Party, known as the G5, as well as other aggrieved members of the party, were embarrassed as their gathering was disrupted by some party faithful in the states who sang songs in support of the party's presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar. The state party members decried the group's alleged plan to undermine the presidential aspiration of the party's candidate and insisted that Atiku was the choice candidate for 2023. Meanwhile, presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, has dismissed speculations that he may step down for his PDP counterpart, Atiku Abubakar, in next year's general election. Speaking at the Nigerian Guild of Editors Forum, Kwankwaso insisted that he left the party to renegotiate the country's huge debts in order to move the country forward. Let's share the Sun with it.
Bínú lọ, wọn ló sọ fún àwọn pé wọn lọ dìbò rep, pé ìbò rep ni wọn kàn lọ dì, wọn ní ìbò rep ni wọn lọ dì, pé wọn má dìbò gọ́fúnà, pé ìbò rep ni wọn lọ dì, ní tó sọ nìyẹn o, pé ìbò rep àwọn kìíní lórí wọn lọ dì. Ṣé gbọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ Ayọ̀dé bínú lọ? Ọ̀pá Àtíkù Ayọ̀dé bínú lọ, wọn ní ìbò rep ló pariwo, Ayọ̀dé bínú lọ. Ayọ̀dé bínú lọ ọ̀gá. Ayọ̀dé bínú lọ. Ọba Àtíkù. Ọba Àtíkù. Ọba Àtíkù. Ọba Àtíkù. Ọba Àtíkù. Ọba Àtíkù. Ọba Àtíkù.
Abib, let's tackle the first phase of that story. The G5 governors, I asked myself, we have some days to the general election, and they are members of the People's Democratic Party, and they've refused to leave the PDP. What could be their end game?
I think their end game is becoming increasingly clear. To make the party more disunited, to disrupt the operations, to disunite the members, and ultimately make sure that Atiku Abubakar did not win the elections. That's the end game. Because if you notice, they meet every week. They met last week in Benue, the previous week in Oyo State, and yesterday in Lagos. And they met in Lagos with some of their great leaders too, like Bode George, Duna Jang, and the rest. So their end game is to disrupt the party, distract them, be in the news that voters, the party is not united. And a party that is not united is not ready to win elections. You know, I wrote a piece for my platform, The Pledge, about 2 weeks ago. And I was wondering why it's so difficult for Atiku Abubakar and some BOT members to sit down on the table and iron this thing out. The main demand of Wike and his gang is that Ayu must go. That's their main demand, Ayo. The main demand of a Bode George is that you cannot remain as the chairman when another Hausa man is the party presidential candidate. The implicit belief, their demand is that the presidency should come to the South. Now, we have gotten the ticket, and they are saying that you cannot remain the chairman. That was the agreement, implicitly. That was the agreement. And I think we have said it, that it's not ready to budge, to capitulate to the demand of the G5. The G5, led by Wike, they are determined. From his body language, he has made up his mind to work against Atiku Abubakar. So, but yesterday, another dimension up took place. Don't forget that it came in the wake of Wike's support for the Lagos State Governor, Sanwo-Olu. And when they met yesterday, that was still their position. Some of the supporters of Jandor and Atiku Abubakar now said, no, it's not enough. Started cursing and shouting the name of Atiku Abubakar and Jandor. Taking a new dimension. So I hope that reason will still prevail. The party will come together and provide a strong opposition to ABC. But the way it's going now, the way it's going,
I think we will need to clear from Alton Odu Bode George himself, because what we gathered, because after their meeting at Southern Sun, we journalists, we had to return back to the newsroom to go and do our story. We did not follow them to Lugard. But what we gathered is that they are saying for House of Representatives, for the Senate, that they should vote for the People's Democratic Party, that apart from coming to the governorship and the presidential election, they should not vote for Atiku and Jandor. And that is what you see their supporters kicking against, saying that this is not Rivers State, this is Lagos, that they want to remain loyal to Atiku Abubakar?
Politics is not like that. PDP, look at PDP. Remember in 2013, it was still the same G5 issue. Remember how many governors with Atiku Abubakar went, I mean, in November, November 2013, led. It was still, was it not G5?
Yeah.
G5 again. Then remember the 12 northern governors in 2015 that traveled to the US and reported then President Jonathan, to the US government that he was deliberately punishing northerners. There were also PDP governors there.
Using the Chibok guys.
Yeah, so there were also PDP governors there. So it's, and also remember, at different times, PDP governors have actually helped candidates in other parties. Remember the relationship between Amechi and Oshomole years back when Oshomole was running for governor. So, you see, these things form, like I said earlier, the nature of Nigerian politics. You are not sure where any politician stands. It's all about his interests. He can pull down the house. He can blow up the roof if his interests are not met. And that is what you're seeing these people doing. And definitely, and also, Atiku Abubakar should have been a better student of history. Because this is a party you worked against. This is a party you said so many things against. You told Nigerians not to vote for the PDP. But what you're now trying to push is the fact that, you know, all right, it depends on, okay, all right. Some people are saying it should go to the south. By next year, 8 years of Buhari, it will mean the North has had, in this fourth republic, 10 years. Then, if the South goes forward, it will have more than what the North has had. So what's the big deal? The North should actually be pushing to even up. Now, in doing that, you should have borne in mind that that key members of the party, especially the governors from the South, will kick against it. Then these were the same governors that agreed in Asaba that this thing will come to the South.
Absolutely.
All of a sudden, Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, turned around and moved to Atiku's side. That, okay, no problem, whatever emerges, I'll support it. Come on, you don't expect...
Okay, I have Fidel from Imo State on the line. Thank you for joining us, Fidel.
Thank you very much. My name is Fidel Onyeneke. And I want to say that what happened in Lagos, what happened to the G5 governors, is apparently an indication that people are getting tired of what their excesses, what I may call their excesses. And they must learn something from it. This is a delicate period for them to continue to move and make utterances that might lead to violence. As governors, they are elders of this country, and they should therefore mind their activities and their actions. In the past, probably they've done one or two things, but it is getting to the extreme that Nigerians are now beginning to resist them. By the way, these governors, don't they no longer work in their states and so on? How many days do they spend in their state in the past 2 months and 3 months? It is unbecoming of leaders of the country. For God's sake, if they want to pull out of the political party, let them pull out, but let them not do anything.
What we have here is that this might distract the presidential, ambition of Atiku Abubakar in the sense that, look, it's bad enough that he lost a Peter Obi to the Labour Party, and they ran on the same ticket in 2019, and that went a long way to secure the Southeast and the South-South for Atiku Abubakar. Right now, he's on the risk of losing, or, that place will be in contention right now. And at the same time, you can't afford to have crisis in Benue, Enugu, or your state, Abia State, and Rivers State. As you still want to emerge as the president of this election.
This guy, they've demonstrated in the past few months, weeks and months, that they are not neophytes, that they are consequential, and they can derail the train from reaching its destination. And that's why I said I'm surprised that mature minds in the opposition party have not found it expedient to be more decisive. To be more decisive in listening to the demands and yearnings of Wike and his gang. You don't know the Wike and his gang. Because I don't see the sentiment that Wike is raising The sentiment is gaining traction. The power must come to the South. That nobody is, that all Nigerians are equal citizens. That there's an agreement before and during primaries that the chairman cannot remain from the North and the presidential candidate come from the North. So these are germane issues, these are germane demands, which I think should take the party leadership, take it more seriousness. That let's negotiate with these people. Because I don't see how they can win this election without these guys.
Now they are saying that the room for negotiation is still on. Do you see an Atiku Abubakar telling your child?
I'm not optimistic. I want them to be united and face the ruling party. They can have a robust election next year. And the way it is going, the ABC will roll this election and win.
But I really wonder why these politicians don't have a sense of history. Remember, Jonathan got Obulafo, Chief Vincent Obulafo, to step down. And then Bello Haliru from the North came in before gradually Adamu Omazo came on the scene. That was a sitting president. Why is it difficult for a candidate, someone who's not a sitting president, for a candidate to negotiate, give room for negotiations and all of that?
He appointed Dasuki as NSA.
And then, yes.
To appease the Northwest.
To appease the yes. So all these things. And that was a sitting president.
But Atiku is just saying that, look, the chairman here was duly elected by the National Working Committee, the Congress of the party.
Yeah.
That's
the National Convention.
Yes, convention.
And what about Obulafo? Was he smuggled in as chairman?
Correct.
Was he smuggled in as chairman? Atiku's emergence as the presidential candidate, there are allegations about, surrounding how he emerged. So what is he talking about? In political negotiations, sometimes it's about convention and practice. You look at the convention, you also look at practice to make sure that you are focused on winning. He has to negotiate. And these people have shown that they are not backing down. Absolutely. Already, Wike has promised Peter Obi support. He has promised Kwankwaso support. So you should know that these people are actually going beyond negotiation.
Just promise them logistics support.
Yeah, logistics support. But this is Nigerian politics.
There's only the window. When Jonathan appointed Haliru,
yeah,
the constitution says you cannot elect a new chairman.
A new chairman, yes.
When one has been done already.
Yes.
Jonathan appointed Haliru to use the now window as acting chairman.
Mega Growth Break Free, your daily defense against breakage.
Showing up in style inspires great confidence. IVM G5T appeals to class.
Time is of the essence. With IVM Kappa, business and meetings are always on the go.